This is a fairly momentous event for the world, but also for you. When did you find out about this last night?
Oh, the phone started ringing about a little after midnight with people who had started to get the news and the word that the president was going to speak shortly. And it was a relief. I mean, it's been 10 years we've been looking for this one man. And it's been frustrating, a little embarrassing to the country that we haven't been able to find him until this point.
Now that we have found him and killed him, what does that mean for the war on terror or on Al-Qaeda?
Well, it means, first of all, some sort of closure for the families. I mean, we had so many families in this area whose families were destroyed by the attack on 9/11, who still haven't gotten over it because they lost their husband, their son, their father, and not even the remains to bury. I mean, this is a traumatic experience, and they needed settlement. I mean, this is the guy who was the mastermind behind it, and it was terrible for them that he was still at large and still saying that he didn't regret it at all. He was happy that he did it. So for them, first of all, I'm very, very pleased. For the war on terror, it's, well, terrorism, I don't like that word name, but it's helpful. He was the charismatic head of the organization. But frankly, I don't think he had much operational control anymore. Al-Qaeda has now morphed into a number of units in various parts of the world. So it's symbolic in a way. It's good. I'm certainly glad we got him. But if we let down our guard now, then we're going to be in real trouble.
How fearful should we be of retaliation, do you think?
Al-Qaeda is trying to strike us, and it's not a question of retaliation. They're trying to strike us as we speak, and they've been trying to strike us for a long time. We've been able to disrupt a number of those attacks. We probably have gotten Al-Qaeda to the point where they have great difficulty launching any kind of massive attack like 9/11. The last time they tried that was in London when they tried to blow up a whole bunch of planes. But now it's single people often. And that's harder to stop and dangerous. The damage they can do may be less, but people like the Times Square bomber, people like the Christmas Day bomber, people like Major Hassan and Fort Hood, these are people who can create trouble, and we should be on the alert. The other thing, the most dangerous thing going on right now, and a new aspect of this whole war, is not only that it's smaller attacks, and not only that it's diverse, it's outside Afghanistan and Pakistan, but it's that it's native-born Americans in some cases. People who can travel where they want to go with an American passport. That's much harder to stop, much more dangerous, and it requires a whole new look at how terrorism operates and ways in which we can get ahead of it by being aware of that threat.
So the removal of bin Laden is more symbolic than substantive in terms of a victory.
Yeah, it's a tremendous blow to the morale of Al-Qaeda, it's a tremendous boost to our own morale, but that's what it is. That's what it is, and of course it's a wonderful thing for those families.
How did you view him? As some kind of diabolical genius? How did you view him?
I viewed him as a charismatic figure. People come along sometime who can move crowds, who by their personality can attract other people to a movement. That's what he did, and he was one of those people, driven by half genius, half mad genius, half religion. He created a lot of trouble in this world. There are a lot of people who've died in this world because of Osama bin Laden. Actually, mostly Muslims, more than anybody else. So this was a man the world is well rid of.
You say you don't like the term war on terror or on terrorism. Why not?
Because that's not what it is, really. We know who the enemy is. It's a particular kind of Islamic terrorism. It's a radical form which is held by a tiny, tiny group of the Muslim community. And I believe in saying what we're doing. It's a war on Islamists, those people who have perverted a great faith and use it to kill innocent people. and that's not what the Prophet said. It's not what 99% of the Muslims in this world say. It's not what their faith is about, and we should call it what it is.
The war on Islamists?
Yeah, Islamist terrorists. They're a particular branch, and a tiny branch of a great religion.
And what's the status of the 9/11 Commission today? Is it disbanded? Is it finished?
Oh yeah, we were finished years ago, but we're still working on our report individually. And Lee Hamilton and I are now co-chairman of a group working out of the Bipartisan Center in Washington. We've got a couple of former attorney generals. We've got a number of people who had run the Homeland Security business. A number of people who have been terrorism experts from 3 administrations. And we're working to try and help the government in whatever way we can to continue this war in an intelligent manner. And if necessary, if they're not doing the job, to hold their feet to the fire from time to time. But we've come out, our most recent report is a report on what I was talking about, how dangerous it is, these native-born terrorists. And we're now working on a report that'll be out in a month or so saying what the government should be doing about it, how we can get ahead of this movement.
Should President Obama get some credit for initiating this action?
President Obama deserves a lot of credit, and I'll tell you why. The one thing I've learned over the years, working with the CIA, for instance, is we get millions of bits of information all the time. The difficulty is to put them together so it's not just information, but it's what they call actionable information. And actionable information means that you have all the pieces put together so that you can act on that. Very few things reach that level. And what the president did over a period of time, since last August, I gather, we're told, has been gathering these pieces of information, and this is a possible place for bin Laden. I don't believe, from what I hear on the phone from people, they didn't even ever see him. They weren't 100% sure he was there. They were pretty sure he was there. They had all the information that led the president to have a firm conviction he was there. But he still had to have the courage to order that Navy SEAL team into a foreign country, into an operation like that. Had it failed, think about it, if it failed, it would have been like the operation that Jimmy Carter tried to do, which just added to the feeling that this was a very ineffective administration. So he had courage to do that and to act on that information. And so we should be proud of our president today. He did the right thing.